Nobody at Electronor Components noticed the cleaners, least of all Clara Almeida, until she read a contract that could sink the whole place. It was a rainy February morning in Kamakari, Bahia, the kind of cold that clawed through Clara's threadbare coat as she trudged through mud. The bus had broken down, again, and she ran to beat the clock. One more late arrival, and Sandra, the director's sour secretary, would write her up. Clara couldn't afford that. Not with her mother's medical bills stacking like forgotten paperwork and a factory job that barely kept them afloat. The Electronor gates loomed, faded and peeling. Once a proud symbol of Brazilian industry, the factory now limped along, its chimneys puffing smoke like a heart refusing to quit. Osvaldo, the security guard and former chief engineer, greeted her with a wink. "Morning, Clara. Big day. Gringos from Hamburg are coming." "Investors?" she asked, shaking rain from her blouse. He nodded, grim. "Rumor is, if this deal flops, we're done by São João." Clara's stomach twisted. A shutdown wouldn't just mean lost wages. It'd gut Kamakari. In the break room, the sharp sting of bleach burned her nose. Dona Marlene, the cleaning crew's tough but kind leader, barked orders. "Top floor's gotta shine today, girls. Dr. Bastos wants every doorknob sparkling for those Europeans." Clara tied her apron, resentment simmering. 10 years ago, she was a star at the Federal University, studying German and legal translation. Professors called her gifted, destined for big things. Then her mother, Aurora, fell. Chronic arthritis, a slipped vertebra. Medical debts crushed Clara's dreams like a runaway truck. She quit school, took whatever work came. Now she scrubbed floors while others closed deals. That morning, cleaning the executive boardroom, her eyes caught a coffee-stained document on a stack of files. The header stopped her cold. Becker and Associados GmbH, crisp font, legal jargon. Her old instincts kicked in. She scanned the first lines. Agreement for transfer of shares. In the event of financial misrepresentation, the administrative director may be removed and replaced by an interim executive proficient in German and legal protocol. Her pulse raced. Could it be? A voice thundered behind her. "What do we have here?" Ricardo Bastos, Electronor's director, stood arms crossed, face red with suspicion and something else. "Fear," Clara stammered. "Just cleaning, sir." He snatched the papers. Behind him, Mario Andrade, the quiet production chief, watched, his eyes sharp with curiosity, not judgment. "You speak German?" Bastos sneered. "Yes, sir. I studied legal translation before this." He laughed harsh. "Well, Frau Translator, why don't you translate the whole thing? Give us a laugh." He tossed the papers onto the table with mock grandeur. "By tomorrow. Impress me." He stormed out. Mario lingered, his voice low. "Take the papers. You'll need them." That night's cleaning closet became a war room. Under a flickering bulb, Clara pored over the contract, her old notebook and red pen her only weapons. Legal German flowed back, her hands trembling with purpose, not fear. Near midnight, she hit Clause 12, Section 3B. If misrepresentation is detected, the German party reserves the right to appoint a temporary executive fluent in legal German to stabilize operations. A hidden bomb. Clara, the invisible cleaner, could be the key to saving or sinking the factory. She didn't sleep. At her dim apartment, hunched over the kitchen table, she circled incriminating phrases while her mother's oxygen machine hummed. The clause was no mistake. If the Germans found falsified numbers, and they could oust Bastos and need someone like Clara to bridge the gap. But she was just the cleaner. Next morning, she slipped the translated contract in her bag, unnoticed as always. Passing Mario in the hallway, she caught his subtle nod. He hadn't forgotten. The factory buzzed with tension as the Becker and Associados delegation arrived. Windows gleamed, flowers lined the halls. Even Sandra ditched her gum for a too-tight blazer. Clara was wiping the boardroom table when Bastos snapped. "Got my translation, don't it, Clara?" She handed him the folder, clutching it to her chest first. "Yes, sir." He skimmed it, his face paling with each page. Slamming it down, he growled, "What are you playing at?" "I translated, like you asked." His lips curled. "Highlighting Clause 12? That's the one thing that could tank this deal. If the Germans audit and find inconsistencies, they'll invoke it. You think they'll find something?" "I think they're already suspicious," she said softly. "That's why they're here." Silence. Then Bastos laughed, bitter. "You think you're the hero of some corporate fairy tale? You're nothing, Almeida. A cleaner with a dictionary. Stay out of this." He slammed the door. That afternoon, under a drizzle, Clara knocked on Susanna Tavares' door, the head accountant. "I need to talk about the contract and the numbers you were told to show." Susanna stiffened, but let her in. Clara showed the clause, translated it flawlessly. Something shifted in Susanna's eyes, a flicker of the honesty she'd buried to survive. She slid a folder across. "This is how the books really look. If the Germans see Bastos numbers, then they'll walk, or worse." "Then we give them the truth," Clara whispered. Susanna shook her head. "You don't get it. People could lose jobs. You could lose more." "I've already lost everything once," Clara said. "I won't stay quiet again." That night, in the public library's dim glow, Clara drafted an email to Heinrich Schiller, head of the German delegation. No accusations, just facts, suspicious numbers, Clause 12's risks, consequences for workers and the town. She attached her translation, photos of the original, and Susanna's real financials. Her fingers hovered over send. This could mean war or redemption. She clicked point. 3 days of tense silence followed. Bastos strutted, barking orders. Clara scrubbed floors, invisible again. On the 4th day, Sandra's voice crackled over the intercom. All department heads to the main hall. The hall filled fast, workers leaning against walls. The German stood out, 3 sharp-eyed businessmen, Schiller at the center, tall and composed. Bastos took the stage, all politician swagger. "Today marks a bold new chapter for Electronort." Schiller raised a hand. "Her Bastos, your production numbers seem optimistic. We request full financial records and have reviewed the contract, including Clause 12, with independent translations." Bastos froze. The room held its breath. "I assure you," he began, but Schiller cut him off. "We'll conduct a full audit. Depending on findings, we may invoke our right to new leadership." Bastos' jaw tightened. "Who gave you that translation?" Schiller didn't answer, but Mario's glance flicked to Clara at the back. Bastos followed it, his face twisting. "You," he spat, pointing. "You think a cleaner can play corporate spy?" Clara didn't speak. Schiller stepped forward. "We're not interested in hierarchy, her Bastos. We're interested in truth." Gasps rippled. Some clapped. Bastos, red-faced, shouted as security escorted him out. Clara stood still, breathing, no longer invisible. That evening, Schiller met her in the boardroom she once cleaned. You knew the risks, he said. Yet you spoke. I had to, she replied. Too many depend on this place. He smiled. We're appointing interim management. We need a legal liaison fluent in German and law. Will you take it? Clara froze, then nodded. Yes. She left with more than a job, a new life. But the audit uncovered a mess, hidden debts, ghost contracts, missing equipment. Bastos was gone, investigations launched, suppliers reevaluated. Ella Trenort teetered, not the triumph Clara imagined, but a grueling rebuild. She showed up daily, hair in a practical bun, notebook filled with Portuguese and German. Mario backed her at every meeting, never questioning her right to lead point one night. After a 12-hour day, he handed her coffee outside the elevator. You haven't blinked since Tuesday, he teased. She laughed, small but real. Later, walking the factory floor, now humming again, Mario asked, Ever regret sending that letter? Never, she said, watching young workers in safety vests. This place is finally honest, sustainable, human. 3 months later, Ella Trenort secured a major German export deal. Clean, audited reports earned cautious board applause. Bonuses returned, salaries rose, safety programs revived. The cafeteria got real coffee, and pride crept into the halls. Susanna retired with dignity, leaving Clara a box of sweets and a whispered, You gave me back my integrity. Not everyone celebrated. Bastos' allies grumbled, old habits lingered, delayed shipments, lost memos. Clara never backed down. When a critical shipment stalled at customs, sabotage, she suspected, she and Mario, with a discreet ministry call, fixed it in 72 hours. The team cheered in the break room, not loud, but real for her fight, not her title. In May, Clara brought her mother to the factory. Aurora, walking slowly post-surgery, marveled at the bustling floor. In Clara's new office, once a boardroom she scrubbed, she sipped tea by the window. You're not just running a company, Aurora said. You're teaching people what matters. Clara nodded. Truth. People. A year after Clara's email, Ella Trenort held a quiet celebration. Schiller returned, smiling more than frowning. Your team's ahead of projections, he said. A success we didn't expect, but are proud to share. Pride came later for Clara, when jobs stabilized, when women like her weren't shadows, but essential. One Friday, passing a young, shy cleaner, Clara smiled. Welcome to Ella Trenort. The girl blinked, surprised. Thank you, ma'am. Clara walked to her car, keys swinging, heart steady. No fairy tale, just a life she'd earned, one truth at a time.